the reason that we're doing this and the reason that it's such a big deal, in the last course we were talking about how most companies in our industry do not have a sales process. It's the Wild West. Someone does it one way, someone else does it a different way, and the experience that customers have is largely dependent on the mood of the salesperson as opposed to the skills and the practices that they apply. So what we want to do today is show you guys a framework that is going to make it so you can connect with customers better and faster, you can make more sales, and you can win more repeat business. Like I said before, the purpose of today is not for you guys to hear me talk. You listening to me for an hour and a half, I'm sure everyone's got better things to do than that. The goal is that you can tangibly take away something that you can bring back to your businesses. And the reason that I'm so fired up about this is that this is the sales process that we use in all of my showrooms. And it's a gaping hole in our industry. Most companies in our industry have no sales process, and the result of that is that we are actively confusing customers out of buying our products rather than showing them the amazing value that we have and making their lives better. So for those of you that weren't in here before, my name is Tim Reed, and I am from Portland, Oregon in the Pacific Northwest. I've been doing this for almost 15 years. Rob was asking me my qualification earlier, and before I got into the fireplace industry, I was the guitar player in a failing punk band up and down the West Coast. So you guys are in good, qualified hands. But my journey started in install. So spent about 4 years doing install work, spent about 5.5 years in sales for a different company than I am now, and I spent about the last 6 years in leadership and management. So for my day job, I managed 6 showrooms in the Pacific Northwest for a company called Fireside Home Solutions. I moonlight doing sales training and consulting and things like this all over the country. And so what I've been trying to do over the last couple of years is take the practices that I've learned as I've been able to be face-to-face with the biggest manufacturers, the best dealers in the country, and what we found to have success in our business, and kind of put it all together. And this course is me just laying my cards on the table and saying, hey, this is my playbook. You can do whatever you want with it, but this is what we found to have huge success. So I'm going to be throwing a lot of things at you. Don't feel like you have to retain everything. The reason that there's a handout is so that you guys can write stuff down, take it back, and apply it slowly. But I'm hoping that there are a couple nuggets that you can take away that are going to instantly move the needle for you. So for the people that weren't here the first time, there's a very inspirational quote that I look at every morning before I go to work. You guys know those foundational quotes that you base your life around? You guys, Zig Ziglar, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. You have these amazing, unbelievable quotes. Here's the one that inspires me. Buying a fireplace is really hard. Yes, see, you said that? Everyone, always. Okay, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We talked about this a lot in the last course, but buying a fireplace is really freaking hard. It is a wonder that people buy anything from us. I'm pointing the finger at myself here. I think our team's pretty good. We're still on the journey figuring out. It's a wonder that people buy fireplaces with how complicated and difficult we make the process. The truth of the matter is that if we think about the customer's journey, now this is going to be a review for people that were in the last course, but think about the customer's journey. They get their first thought about a fireplace. So what's the first thing a customer would probably do when they think about a fireplace? Not everybody at once. Yeah, well, so what would be the first step you'd take to figure that out? Get online. Yeah, 100%. Google it. Okay. So step one on the customer's journey is that they get confused by a manufacturer's bad website. That's step one. Step two in the journey is that they go to a dealer's worst webpage and get even more confused. And I'm being facetious. There's some people that have good web pages, not many. And we were talking about this last time. When customers don't know what a gas insert or a zero clearance fireplace or a pellet stove or a gas log set is, why on earth do we organize our web pages that way? Just food for thought. Okay, but they're confused, number one, by the website. So if that doesn't get them, then next when they come in and talk to a dealer and they get all kinds of insider language about BTUs and square footage and direct vent technology and everything, that's the next thing that they get. And then after that, there's a lot of Stone Age local businesses that they just don't seem to care. Have you guys found this? Maybe not with your company, maybe with the competitors, where it just seems like they just don't care. Sometimes even, it's a hot day in July, customer walks in, and in the back of your head you're thinking, what are they doing here wasting? They're not here to buy a fireplace. They're just kicking tires, right? It's the middle of July. We are so guilty of not taking customers seriously, and so many local businesses are operating in the Stone Age. And again, in this course, I'm obviously very excited. I get really passionate. I was telling the group earlier, like right now, I'm up to like an 8 out of 10. You don't want to see me at a 10. Okay, I get really fired up. So I'm not saying any of this to throw stones. With many of these things, I'm pointing the finger at myself, and this is the journey that I've been on and that I still am on. So, but the truth is that we operate with a lot of Stone Age practices. We talked last time about the average consumer experience. If you want to buy, a consumable good, is to go on Amazon Prime, you order it on your phone, 2 days later it shows up. Why is your stupid fireplace any different? Well, I mean, it is different, but our customers don't know that. Their expectation is that it's just like Amazon. And so if we operate with any kind of a different paradigm than that, all of a sudden we're operating in the Stone Age. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how consumers feel. Next is that there seems to be immense difficulty of such a seemingly simple purchase. We gave the example in the last course about buying a dishwasher. I don't know why I chose dishwashers. Maybe it's because I got one a few years ago. But if I want to go get a dishwasher, I go to Home Depot. I have an idea in my head of major brands, have an idea of the price range, and I go to Home Depot and find my dishwasher, and 48 hours later, it's installed at my house. Why is the fireplace that much different? Why are you asking me questions about how big my fireplace is? When I get a dishwasher, do they ask me how big the cavity is that it's going into? Can you pull your dishwasher out and get on your hands and knees and give me that inner back width of it? I mean, that's just the reality. So customers, it's a very difficult process of such a seemingly simple product. And I'm not saying our product isn't technical. One of the things I mentioned is that in the past when I've taught courses like this, I've been accused of saying that I'm throwing technical knowledge and skills out the window. That's not what I'm doing. But what I'm saying is that it's drastically important that we understand the technical precision and fine-tuning that our industry requires. But that's much different than vomiting that on the customer the first time they come into the showroom. Okay, I want to make that distinction. I'm not down on technical. But, to make matters worse, very often we complicate things. I want to talk about a lot of problems today. And the truth of the matter is that we are the ones who are complicating it. It's not anybody else but us. I get a lot of inspiration from my friend Michael Scott. And if you guys watch The Office, does Michael Scott complicate things for his team? Right? I mean, and we're no different, okay? So part of the reason is because everyone fights the curse of knowledge. We talked about this in the last course. It comes from Lee Lefevre. If you want an amazing book about this, go and buy The Art of Explanation by Lee Lefevre. But basically, the curse of knowledge, and you remember it from last time? What is it, Amy?
Too much vomiting for too much data.
Yep. And do you remember the knowledge scale that we talked about?
They speak at a 1 or a 2, and we're always at we're dumbing it down to a 6 or 7, but really communicating an 8 or 9.
Absolutely. So on a knowledge scale in the hearth industry, if you take a scale of 1 to 10, most of us here are probably operating at a 9 or a 10. If you pass the NFI exam, you're probably a 12. Okay? When we try to simplify things for consumers, we can maybe bring it down to a 6 or a 7. The problem is customers are buying at a 1 or a 2. It's the companies that speak at a 1 or a 2 that connect with customers and win business. We fight the curse of knowledge, and that complicates things. Next is that we give them too much. We talked in the last course about how every time you give a consumer a piece of information, you're handing them a bowling ball. That comes from a company called StoryBrand out in Nashville. But every time you say, hey, this is a 30,000 BTU insert, and it's got direct vent technology, it's got amazing sealed combustion, and this modulating remote is just incredible. It uses the IPI system, so your pilot light's only burning when you use the fireplace. Okay, I just handed like 1 million bowling balls to the customer. But how often are we guilty of doing that? We're giving them bowling ball after bowling ball after bowling ball. And if I'm handing someone a bowling ball, Shelby was a great volunteer last time. We asked the question, how many bowling balls could she hold if I was handing them to her? 2, maybe 3, right? One in each hand. You give me a third one, but you give me a fourth bowling ball, I'm dropping them. Your customers are no different. If they drop the bowling balls, you lose the sale. They will either buy from a competitor or they will get confused out of it. The statistic that we talked about last time is that more jobs are lost to indecision than competition. And hopefully you guys are tracking this in your stores. We find as we track it that we lose jobs about 4 to 1 to indecision over competition. So I'm telling you, if you're not tracking it, you're probably worse than that. But I think we're pretty good. And we're losing 4 to 1. And that's telling me that we still have some work to do and how easy we're going to make it for customers to buy from us, because we are confusing customers out of buying fireplaces rather than compelling them with the value that they provide. So here's what we need. We need a simple and repeatable way to make it easier for customers, just straight up. It's got to be simple and it's got to be repeatable, because if we want to get better as salespeople, we got to be able to do it again and again and again. It's the only way you practice, right? I'm a huge basketball fan, and if I'm going to work on my jump shot, and I've never shot before, so I sometimes shoot it right-handed with one hand, sometimes I shoot it left-handed one hand, sometimes I shoot it 2 hands over my head, sometimes I go granny style. Am I ever going to be a good jump shooter? No. What makes a good jump shooter? practicing it the same way and the right way over and over and over and over and over and over. And that's one thing we're going to talk about today. If you are not practicing on a regular basis with your team members, you are losing money. Face-to-face practice, real life, an hour at least every other week, you're losing money if you're not doing it. And the beauty of that is that if you've had success in your businesses without sales practice and a sales process, dude, you guys will kill it once you start doing this. So as we jump into the sales process, I talked about this in the last course as well, that I am the furthest thing from a micromanager. And so we are going to jump into a 7-step sales process. And when people hear 7 steps, they freak out. Our industry's got something against process. And people are always thinking, what are you doing? You can't tell me I'm a natural. And what goes through my mind when I hear that someone's a natural, or when I talk to a sales leader and say, I got a team full of naturals. They don't need a process. In my head, I think you got a team full of people that are super dangerous. And I hope I don't get them on a bad day. Okay? We got to have a process. And I give the example that a 7-step sales process is not micromanagement. It's not being robotic. It's not forcing people into a box. What it's doing is it's painting lines on the basketball court so everyone can play the same game. If you don't have lines on the basketball court, you are literally descending into chaos. Once you put lines on the court, you give clarity. And that breeds intensity and creativity that would never be there if the lines weren't in place. So that's what we're doing today. I am not a rules guy. I'm a fan of guidelines, trust, and empowerment. But as a sales leader, you got to lay the groundwork, right? You got to say, what game are we playing? Are we playing hockey? Are we playing basketball? If we're not playing the same game, the customer experience is going to be really, really bad. So that was a lot. I know I'm talking loud. I'm talking fast. What we're going to do today is we're going to go through the theory of each of these. I'm going to give a slide for practice. We are most likely not going to be doing much of the practice. Every once in a while, I'll pull a random person up, and you might have to give a presentation in front of everybody. But don't worry, it's out of love that we'll all laugh at you behind your backs later. But that's okay. This is going to be mostly theory.
We don't need any more love in this world.
That's right. Yeah.
Just stop.
Yep. So this is mostly going to be theory. But when it goes to the slides about practice, since we're doing the condensed version of this course, I hope that you're writing down what the practice exercises are and that you're working on them with your team. And even if you're not a sales leader, if you're a salesperson, get other team members to do this. I'm telling you that the magic is in the practice. So if we're going to create a world-class sales process, I like things really simple. And I always joke around, and I get sometimes people that have been in this industry for twice as long as I have that make fun of me, and they're like, I don't need a sales process. How can you have this sales process? It's not better than me just being a natural. And I'll say, okay, well, hey, Isaac, you seem like a great guy, and you seem really into sales. Let's throw this out the window. Let's just build our own sales process, okay? We're going to forget about all this. What's the first thing that we should do with a customer when they come into the showroom, you think? What's step 1 in the sales process?
Hello, my name's Isaac. How are you doing? Welcome.
What did you just do?
Greet them.
Dude, are you teaching this? What? Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, dude. Okay. I didn't plan that, guys. I didn't plan that. Yeah, total natural. Okay, point being, it doesn't have to be robotic, but the truth of the matter is that, I can't sell something unless I've greeted the customer, okay? So step 1 in the sales process is greeting. You have to have an effective greeting. And I would argue that there are a lot of things that make an effective greeting. I'm actually going to hold off on that slide for now. Just throwing it out there, put your hands in the air. Is there anything you guys can think of that would make a good, warm greeting, that would make someone feel really comfortable?
Smiling.
Smile. Awesome.
We have a dog.
Oh, yes. Yes. Having a dog. We had a store dog at one of the stores I used to work at, Golden Retriever. People loved it. They instantly felt good. Yep. What kind of dog?
He's a lab.
Yeah. That's cool. So smile. We got a dog. Anything else that would make people feel really good?
Give your name. Introduce yourself.
Give your name. It's great.
Eye contact.
Eye contact.
We have like popcorn, snacks, coffee, water, everything.
Yeah. We all know the things that make an effective greeting, but just be honest. Has anybody ever in this room before today practiced the way that they greet a customer with their team? Okay. I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big fan of winning the games that no one else is playing. So the truth of the matter is that when a customer walks into the showroom, we are actually on the field playing the greeting game, and so is all of our competition. But the beauty is that our competition, they don't know they're on the field yet. They think they're on the field when they start talking about a fireplace. But you are on the field playing the greeting game. I'm a huge fan of winning the games that no one else is playing, and it starts with the greeting. So What's it take to have an effective greeting? Now, I just got to say, this is a beautiful family. I've never seen such a beautiful daughter. It seems like that wife is just unbelievable, and that's a nice fireplace in the background. That we cut out the ugly guy that was sitting right here in the picture too. But if this family comes into your showroom and they want to be greeted, I mean, right here we just hit a lot of this. Introduction. Pete said, introduce yourself, right? Give them your name. Eye contact, handshake. Again, we're not being robotic, but these are just basic things. When a customer comes in, it is very reasonable that they should get an introduction, a handshake, and a smile with eye contact. And you think about this. I don't care if the customer is just coming in to buy gasket rope or vent pipe. It doesn't matter. You don't know what the customer's looking at yet, but do this to everybody. I give the analogy that it's like if you're going into an uncomfortable situation for the first time. I mean, imagine that you're invited to a party and you don't know anybody there, and like you're dressed up nice and you're thinking, do I deserve to be here? Who do I know? Is this going to be awkward? And how does it make you feel when you walk into that party? You're looking around the room, you're kind of like off to yourself, and someone walks up to you and goes, how's it going? I'm so glad you're here. My name is Tim. Thank you so much for coming in. Can I grab you a drink? How does that make you feel?
Relieved.
Great. Yeah, relieved. 100%. Customers are no different. Do that to them. Every single customer. Greeting, eye contact, handshake. Hey, how you guys doing today? Oh, thanks so much for coming in. Hey, my name's Tim. It's great to meet you. Well, we really appreciate you coming in, okay? That makes a customer feel really good. One of the things we talk about in greeting is small talk. And this is hard for me. Like I'm an answer man. Like I want to get to the point. I don't want to mess around with dumb stuff. But you know what? Small talk, it helps us build bridges. And in sales, we are trying to build bridges. We're trying to connect. And I always tell my team, find something that doesn't have to do with fireplaces and ask it. Or something that doesn't have to do with sales. Or ask about the weather. Ask about, I'm from Portland, Oregon. Ask about the 40-footer that Damian Lillard just hit at the buzzer. Something. So, and we have all these like corny jokes that are just like in the back of our head if we forget what to say. So someone walks in, greeting, we introduce ourselves and everything. And man, it's a hot day outside. You guys always wait till it's 75 degrees outside to look for fireplaces? Whatever it is, but say something to try to break that ice. So it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to go on for forever. You don't have to like overemphasize it. Different personality types can get away with different kinds of small talk. Even if someone is direct and to the point, at least hit them with one line that is going to ease tension just a little bit. If you can pull off humor, be a little bit witty. Here's the big thing. In the greeting process, we're going to go through a few things here. Actually, we're going to do this a little bit differently. Number one, okay, I'm going to ask you guys two questions. You can answer any one of them. There are 5 words of death that we never want to ask in the greeting process. It kills. Oh my dude, you guys are taking the words out of my mouth. How can I help you? Don't ever, ever, ever say that in the greeting. Don't ever. Okay? What's the key question you have to ask? This is new. And I had a friend that turned me on to this question about 5 years ago. I'm convinced it is the key question that you have to ask in greeting. Any ideas?
What brings you in on this fine sunny day?
That's a great question. Not the one I'm looking for. It's a great question.
How many days of service do you take?
Great question.
What's a name?
That's a great question. Got to be careful because you got to earn the right to ask the name. At some point, you do want to ask the name once you've connected, but you do want to ask the name at some point. I would argue that this is the key question you have to ask, and there's a follow-up that you have to ask too. So let's think about this. And let's have Amy. Why don't you come up here? Okay. So I work at Fireplace Warehouse. Amy walks in. She walks in the door. Hey, how's it going today?
Great. How are you?
Oh, good. Hey, thanks for coming in. My name's Tim.
Hi.
Hey, so, it's super hot outside. You guys always look for fireplaces when it's so warm?
At least 80 degrees.
At least 80 degrees, yeah. My wife's the same way. She's actually, no joke, it's 80 degrees outside. She's still sitting in front of our fireplace, and I'm sitting there sweating, opening up windows and turning on the AC. Well, hey, I know you didn't come in to talk about the AC. What brings you in today?
Just looking to add something pretty to my house.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, number one, thanks for coming in. I know the location is hard to find. Is this your first time into Fireside Warehouse, or have you been in here before?
Oh, it's my first time. It was a little rough, but I found the building based on the signage outside.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, thanks for coming in. How was it that you heard about us?
I saw you guys on Facebook.
You saw our Facebook ads?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, we've been putting a lot of effort into that. Thank you. Okay, so magic question. Did you guys catch it? Is this your first time in? Now, I'd prefer to ask it first. It's okay to ask it second. In your greeting process, is this your first time into Fireside Warehouse? Thank you so much. You can take a seat. Give Amy a hand. Okay. Why is that question critical to ask?
You may already be working with somebody or had that experience before.
It tells you which direction the train's going. Okay? If they say, yeah, I've actually been in here before, what's your next question?
Who were you working with?
Who are you working with? What was the project you were working on? Okay? You are going to save yourself all kinds of pain and headache by asking that question on the front end rather than getting 45 minutes into the presentation and finding out in the back end. Okay? Is this your first time in here today? Number one, it's a very unassuming question. In this process, we do not want to come across as abrasive. Is this your first time in here today? It's very unassuming. And when they say, yeah, it's our first time in here. Oh my gosh, yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate that. And then there's the follow-up. So how was it that you heard about us? Okay? What happens, and why do we want to know the answer to that question?
The builder could be working with someone else.
Okay?
They send the homeowner in. The homeowner gets a quote. Then you've already given the homeowner a discount. The builder doesn't get their margin.
Yep. Why else is that a critical question?
So you know where your marketing dollars are going.
100%. You have to know where your marketing's going. If you take nothing away from this, measure your door swings and keep track of how people hear about you. It tells you if your marketing is working, and I'm telling you guys, most traditional marketing is not working, and you figure it out really quick when you start asking people how they heard about us. So what I would say is, if I walk into a showroom and right away someone says, so how'd you hear about us? That's a little bit more of an abrasive question, and in my head, I'm thinking, you're trying to get marketing information out of me. And so you are taking from me right away. When you ask it on the back end of, is this your first time in today, it's a great follow-up question. So, is this your first time in here today? Yeah, it's our first time. Oh my gosh, thanks for coming in. How was it that you heard about us? It's a very unassuming way to ask that question, and I'm telling you that this will start to thaw the ice and start to build bridges in the way that you handle this. So, when you ask the magic question, is this your first time in here? That directs the conversation, but the next follow-up is, perfect, how did you hear about us? And that's going to start to set you up for success. One of the next things in the greeting that we like to do is we call it problem, solution, result. And we're going to get into this, but people only care about your business because it solves their problems. If their problems aren't being solved, they really don't care about your business. And what you want to do is, right from the beginning, you want to lure the customer in with a problem. It's the way that our brains work. If I threw out a problem today, so if you guys walk into this class and I say, we found statistically, based on the research that the Rocky Mountain HPBA has done, that 75% of salespeople are making $50,000 less per year than they should. And I'd like to talk to you about what you can do about that. Does that draw you guys in? Okay, that's a problem. I have hooked you with a problem. Okay, your customers are no different. Now that was a deceitful statistic. I have no idea what people should or shouldn't be making. Okay, but with your customers, you don't want to be deceitful, but you want to talk about problems, because if they don't have a problem, they're not buying from you. Customers are buying to solve a problem or a pain point that they have. And what you got to do is you got to pick, based on just your interaction in 30 seconds with this customer, the best problem that you have to solve. And you got to go problem, solution, result. And this is robotic. I would recommend practicing this over and over and over. But so Amy walks in, I greet her, smile, handshake, we introduce, small talk, we go through, is this your first time in the showroom? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Thank you for coming in. We're affirming the decision they made to come in. How was it that you heard about us? And she tells us, and I say, oh yeah, that's awesome. Man, we really appreciate you coming in looking at our Facebook ads. So what brings you in here today? I forget who said that. That's a great thing to ask after you've done that stuff. So what brings you in here today? And you say,
I'm looking to add a pretty focal point to my home.
oh my gosh, that's awesome. It's so funny. Most houses have these ugly fireplaces that just waste a ton of energy. So what we'll try to do today is just make it really easy to help you find the perfect fireplace and get it installed safely. And that way you can actually enjoy the room that you're in and not just be wasting money every month. How's that sound? Okay, problem, solution, result. Most homes have an ugly fireplace that's wasting energy. Is that a true statement? Most? Okay, that's the problem. So what we're going to try to do today, we'll make it simple to help you find the perfect fireplace and get it installed safely. That's the solution. result, so that you can actually enjoy that room that you're in and you can save some money along the way. How's that sound? Okay, problem, solution, result. Memorize this. This is like the micromanagement part. Memorize it, script it. Every single time, if someone in the grocery store asks you what you do for a living, give this answer. You know, most houses have these ugly fireplaces to waste energy. So we make it simple to find the perfect fireplace, get it installed safely, and that way people can actually enjoy where they live and they can save some money along the way. If you don't say you're in the grocery store, what do you do for a living? It's kind of complicated. I'm in sales, and I work for a company that sells fireplaces. Is the cashier at the grocery store going to say, do you have a business card? Based on that? Okay. But you know what? If you throw that hook out, most houses, they have these ugly fireplaces that just waste a ton of energy. So we make it simple to find the perfect fireplace, get it installed safely, so you can actually enjoy where you live and save some money along the way. Now, you don't have to be a robot. There's different ways to contextualize this, but memorize it. Memorize it, memorize it. Do any of you guys follow HPBA Hearth on Facebook? Okay, so HPBA Hearth has a new Facebook channel. And did any of you guys watch the Facebook Live that I did with them recently? Okay, it's totally fair. I did a Facebook Live with HPBA Hearth recently, and it was about how to buy a fireplace. And you're going to go back now and like just laugh hysterically. We're in the showroom, and they say, hey, we're here with the Hearth Patio and Barbecue Association, and we're excited to talk about fireplaces today. And Tim, hey, thank you so much for having us here. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Most houses, they got these ugly fireplaces that waste a ton of energy. Every day I get to come to work and I get to help make it simple to find the perfect fireplace and get it installed safely. That way people can actually enjoy where they live and they can save some money along the way.
What their elevator pitch touches on every type of homeowner concern. So the aesthetic the person who's looking for an aesthetic, person who's looking for efficiency, and a person who's looking for safety and reliability.
Yep. 100%. And ours isn't perfect. You can create your own problem, solution, result. If your company solves a bunch of problems, pick one. If you mostly sell to builders and you have more builder clients coming in than retail, make it about builders. Hey, most people doing remodels have a terrible time speccing the fireplace. Our goal is to make it really easy to get the perfect spec and get it installed right so that you can be more profitable than ever. Should we get started with that today? Okay. Problem, solution, result. Memorize it. Literally, I got a roll of $10 bills in my wallet. I got $200 and $10 bills with a rubber band on them. We go around with our sales team. What do we do? Okay? If they can give it to us, they get $10. What do we do? They get $10. Memorize it. I'm telling you, you got to do this in the greeting. But this makes an effective greeting, guys. Problem, solution, result. If in your greeting, you can go to a customer and you can, introduce yourself, eye contact, a smile, a handshake. You make some stupid joke, even if it's dumb. You ask them about, hey, is this your first time in here, or have you been in here before? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Thank you for coming in. How was it that you heard about us? Okay, now you know if your marketing is working. Most houses, they got these ugly fireplaces. Most people doing a remodel, they have a terrible time because fireplaces can be really confusing. We make it easy to work with the builder, get the right spec, and get everything installed right so you can be more profitable and you have happier customers and better home buyer satisfaction. What do you say we get started on that today? Avoid the 5 words of death. Don't say, how can I help you? It kills everything. So you think about that. If we can build rapport like that, and every customer is different. Sometimes this will take 2 minutes. Sometimes this will take 20 minutes. I'm not saying that you got to do it a certain way, but if you have these things as part of your greeting, you will connect with more customers. And how much different is that experience than walking into a stove store on a day like this? The person's playing solitaire with their foot kicked up on the desk. How can I help you today? Who do you want to buy from? So normally we go into practice here, but we're gonna do this. Seriously, practice this with your group. In your groups, when you go back to your businesses, practice greeting your partner, and you got to be intentional. Do it 3 times in a row. Literally, have them walk into the store. Hey, how's it going today? My name's Tim. Thanks so much for coming in. You guys always buy fireplaces when it's 85 degrees outside? Oh man. Well, is this your first time in here, or have you been in here? Go through this with your team. We'll spend 2 hours doing the greeting over and over and over, because if you can connect with your customer in the greeting, it's going to set things up for success. I'm telling you, there's a difference between how can I help you today and doing this. You will move the needle.
How often do you guys do that? How often do you do the training?
1 hour every other week. I wish it was every week, but every other week, 1 hour. And think about this. What's the difference in that greeting versus the normal one that you'd get?
Really engaging. People actually want to talk to you instead of feeling obligated to answer your question.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to get somewhere in this project.
Does it make you think that maybe this person's interested in helping me?
Yeah. Well, and you don't get it anywhere anymore, so it's kind of refreshing, I think, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to move on from greeting. I'm going long on time here, and we might run a little bit late. We'll see if they kick me out. But next step. Okay, sorry, you shouldn't see that slide. Remember, we're throwing out my notes. We're making our own sales process. Okay. So we've just greeted the customer. After we've greeted them, could we write up an estimate?
No.
Well, could we start selling them a fireplace?
You can start asking the questions.
Oh, wait, why wouldn't you start selling a fireplace right away?
Because you don't know what kind of fireplace they need.
Oh, okay. So you mean the next step in the sales process is to understand their problem? Oh my gosh, guys. You couldn't script this. You could not script this. Okay? So, look at this. Okay, if I've greeted the customer and we've built some rapport, the next logical step, we're not being micromanagers, but like the next step, it should be to understand their problem. Because if I don't understand their problem, I can't give them a solution. So, this next step is to understand. The great Dr. Stephen Covey said, seek first to understand, then be understood. Our industry is so guilty of being backwards. We demand that we are understood without understanding a flippin' thing about our customers. We got to be backwards. We talked last time about how slow is fast. Go slow on the front end so you can run fast on the back end. Don't go fast to slow, where you go too fast into a sales presentation, you get 45 minutes in just to find out that they said they needed an insert, but they actually need a ZC fireplace, and you've been barking down the wrong trail for the last 45 minutes. Seek first to understand. So, step 2, understand their problem, okay? If we don't understand their problem, they are not going to buy from us. And if they do, it's by accident, and it's not going to be repeatable. We got to understand their problem. So the things that we want to know, if we want to understand what's going on with the customer, are really simple. The understanding phase of the sales process is the most neglected part. Out of everything I talk about today, this is the most, there's a close second, but this is the most neglected part of the process. I secret shop a lot in the Pacific Northwest, and almost always, within 30 seconds of me coming into a showroom, I am being shown a fireplace. I shouldn't say coming into a showroom, of engaging with a salesperson, I'm being shown a fireplace. And there's almost always 2 questions that get asked. You looking for a built-in or an insert? Okay, number 1, I can't answer that question as a consumer. I don't know what a built-in, I don't know what an insert is, so I don't know why we asked that question. Second question, how many square feet you got? So I'll usually be like, I think I need an insert. And I'll see if they can ask me questions or if we go down the wrong trail for 45 minutes. But we got to understand this. If you look at this, we're going to go into the next few steps after this, and we're going to talk about how as you go from the understanding phase, then you move into where you're actually going to show them a product. And after that, you're actually going to call them to action and try to write up an estimate. And if you think about a time matrix, we want to spend the most time understanding. Because if we spend the most time understanding, then we don't need to spend as much time presenting a solution because we properly understand their problem, okay? And if we have listened and understood, and we've narrowed the choices to things that are only going to work for them, it's going to take even less time to close that sale because it's right for them, as opposed to going fast on the front end, running into product, and then going slow on the back end because you get derailed. So this is the most neglected part of the sales process. Like I said, I'm pointing the finger at myself and my teams. We always talk about during the understanding phase, I would ideally like it to take 5 to 25 minutes. Depends on how busy you are, but I mean, even 5 minutes, most people don't do. But I would say if you can, if no one's in your showroom, take 10, 15 minutes in this phase. And if the customer's going fast, there's ways around that. But the thing when you're trying to understand, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. When we do our sales training for the understanding phase, we take video. We'll sometimes record just audio. And for homework, I'll have my team watch their video with a stopwatch, and they have to time how long did I talk versus how long did the customer talk. If I'm trying to understand your guys' situation and I'm running my mouth the whole time, am I going to be able to understand? No, I'm not going to be able to. It's really simple. I got to keep my mouth shut. I got to ask good clarifying questions. There's absolutely a time and place to speak, but it really needs to be like a 60-40 ratio to the customer. Here's the thing. When it comes to understanding sales is service, and we don't intentionally do this, I don't think, but so often we're just worried about what product we can sell. And we're instantly starting to group the customer in our heads of like, oh, they're an insert customer, they're a high-end customer, they're doing this, they're doing that. We don't think about it as service. They've got a problem. We can actually help them. I can save them money. I can help this husband and wife get romance that their relationship has never had. We can save them money on their heating bills. We can have a space their family for years can play board games in front of. Sales is service. And if we truly believe that it is service, we will care desperately about understanding our customers' needs. In the understanding phase, we want to ask connecting questions, open-ended questions, and directed questions. Does anybody have an example of a connecting question? So let's say that someone says, well, hey, tell me about your room. And I say, well, we got this 9-foot ceiling, and we got this fireplace in the corner, and even though it's dusty and we hate it, our dog is actually always sitting in front of that silly thing. Okay, what would be a connecting question you could ask right there? What kind of dog do you guys have? We got a golden retriever. What's the next question to ask? What's his name? His name's Walter. Dude, you guys have a dog named Walter? That is classic. You know what? We got a Labrador named Charlie. We felt like human names were just so funny for dogs. Okay? Connecting questions. If someone drops a nugget like that, a dog, a sports team, a remodel, a paint style, a color, ask connecting questions. Always build bridges wherever you can. Don't derail your sales process, but ask questions like that. Now, they don't want to hear about your life, so you got to be very sparse with the information that you give them, not because they're mean, but they care about their story, not yours. But man, if you're a dog person and they got a dog, tell them about it. Oh my gosh, yeah, our dog Charlie loves the same thing. I bet your dog just loves sitting in front of that thing getting warm. Isn't it a hassle though when they come in and they're all dusty from that old fireplace? Right? Ask questions like this. Open-ended questions. These are some of the best questions that you can ask. Mark, tell me about your room.
Large vaulted ceilings, drops down by the fireplace.
It drops down by the fireplace. What's that? So is it like a sunken living room? What year was the house built then?
70s. It's sunk down there. We wish it was level all the way across there, but it dropped down.
So have you guys done some renovating since the 70s on that?
We've been thinking about it, but haven't gotten to it.
What have you been thinking about?
Making the floor all level. Getting rid of the carpet.
So ask these. Tell me about your house. Oh, you've been thinking about a remodel. What's that space like? How do you use that room? Ask open-ended questions, and then just be quiet and just insert little parenthetical comments and let them talk. Customers will tell you all about their space. Ask open-ended questions. There is a time where you got to ask close-ended questions. There's no doubt about it. I would say when you need to ask a close-ended question because you desperately need a piece of information, give the customer options. So if I ask the question, do you got a built-in fireplace or a masonry? Okay, now that's a piece of information that I desperately need. But when I ask that question, the consumer they have no idea what I'm asking. And they will nod their heads and they'll probably just pick one of them because they don't want to look stupid. But if you need a piece of information, give them options. So when you guys go outside and take a look at your roof, do you guys see a bunch of brick that's stacked all the way up out there like it's an old brick by brick fireplace? Or is it actually just sided like the rest of your house? Okay, give them options. Speak with your hands. Even just going, hey, when you look outside your house, is it brick all the way up, or do you see siding all the way up? They're like, oh, I don't see anything like that. Oh, do you guys see like a cap sticking right out the back? Oh yeah, we have a cap sticking out the back right there. Okay, if you're asking a close-ended question, give them options. Okay, this is going to sound so weird, Isaac, but when you go up on your roof to hang up Christmas lights, is the roof pretty shallow where you can put those Christmas lights up easily? Is it kind of steep where you can kind of do it, or are you never getting on that roof?
I need a tie off.
Okay, you need a tie off. Perfect. That gives me everything I need. Okay. Now I know that he's got an 812 or steeper, right? If he can do his Christmas lights, but he's not happy about it, he's probably got a 612, right? If he can do his Christmas lights, it's probably a 412. But give your customers answers to the questions that you need answers for. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. A huge thing in the understanding phase is to summarize and ask for permission. And I would say, we literally have a form and a checklist that we go through. And I would highly encourage you guys to do the same thing. And maybe you don't ask all the questions about it. Maybe you switch the order based on how the conversation goes. But I would find what are the questions that you have to ask every customer, and I would get that in writing, and I would go through it with every single customer. Make your salespeople do it, and you'll stand out from everybody else. But then summarize and ask. So if I say, hey, Randy, man, I really appreciate you talking about your home. I feel like I understand it. So I just want to make sure I'm on the same page. So if I'm hearing you right, you've got a 1,500 square foot house. You mentioned it's kind of like a long L-style ranch, and the fireplace is at the very end of it. I know you said that you're sick of how drafty that room is because of all the air that's getting sucked out, and you're looking for something where you can really feel the heat in that kitchen. Is that a fair representation of what you need?
It is, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I think we got a great solution. Would it be okay if I showed that to you?
Sure.
Okay. Summarize and ask to present. Every single time. Summarize and ask to present. You're getting yeses, which is good, but the customer's also going to tell you if you miss something, and that's critically important. Ask for permission with that.
Can I add something that I think is really, really valuable? You're probably going to get to it also.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying
No,
to.
totally cool.
But you just showed me that you care.
100%.
And that's huge.
Yes, 100%. And that goes back to taking notes, being engaged. Literally, if you guys are going to Punch Bowl Social later, and if you buy me a beer and you say, hey, Tim, tell me about your kids, how much time you got? Seriously. Dude, I will tell you all about my kids. Tell me about your wife. Tell me about the last vacation that you went on. Oh, you played guitar in a punk band? What was that like? Tell me about it. We love to talk about ourselves. Our customers are no different. It doesn't mean that we're deceitful. I don't know, maybe we got a bigger ego than we should. We probably do. But you know what? Your customers like to talk about themselves. So engage that. If you are a good listener and you're asking questions, you really show that you care. That's a really good point. And I'm telling you guys, taking notes shows that you care. It really, really does, especially compared to the competitor who's got his leg up on the desk playing solitaire. How you doing today? Yeah, we got inserts in the back there. I'll be back there in just a second. That's what's happening in other places. Okay, in the understanding phase, one thing I forgot to mention earlier is that I would ask for permission to ask them questions. And here's the way that I'd frame it. So, Kim, you talked earlier in the last session about how sometimes customers are very abrasive. When you say, well, do you have gas to your house right now? Do you have dimensions for your fireplace? Customers very often, what are you asking me all these questions for? Can't we just look at fireplaces? The way that I would frame it is, at the end of your greeting as you're going into this, I would say, hey, Randy, that was so awesome. We appreciate you coming in. So what I'd love to do today is a few things. Is we can first sit down, and I want to make sure that I understand your situation, so that way I can recommend you the right fireplace. After that, we'll take a look at all the options that we have. And last, we'll schedule a free estimate for someone out of your house just to confirm everything we talked about in the showroom today. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. Why don't we sit down here, and do you mind if I ask you some questions just so I can understand what your situation is? Okay. Just so I can understand. Okay, when I just start asking questions without that, I am taking. Okay, when I say so that I can understand, now I am giving. I'm giving my attention. They are giving me answers that are in their best interest. Okay, that will make a huge difference when you ask for permission. You say so that I can I don't want to point you towards the wrong thing. I don't want to waste your time. I'd love to just ask you a couple questions to make sure that I'm on the same page as you. Okay. Here's the thing. In the understanding phase, you are loading the sales shotgun. We talked last time about a great story that Zig Ziglar has about buying a car. And here's the thing. The sales shotgun is not pointed at the customer. It's pointed at their problem. But during this understanding phase, they will give you ammunition to load into the sales shotgun. They will help you cock it so that you can point it at the problem and blow that problem to smithereens. But if you don't go through the understanding phase, you have nothing to load the sales shotgun with. So the information that you get in the understanding phase will be critical in the way that you show a product. Okay, we are beating a dead horse with this, but this is a big deal. So I would highly encourage you guys in the understanding phase, practice this. I would take 5-10 minutes in groups, get your sales team together once a week, every other week, once a month, whatever it is, and I would literally write out situations. This is what I do for my team. I'll write out situations. Okay, you got a 2,500 square foot house, you got an old 20-year-old earth stove that needs to be replaced. It's a 2-story chimney run, and that's your situation. Okay, literally, I'll write these scenarios and hand them out to the team, and sometimes I'll put information in that is critical to the sale. That if it doesn't get uncovered in the understanding phase, it's going to come back and bite the salesperson. But spend time on this, and I would encourage you, practice it for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, and then switch. But then talk about what you learned. I guarantee when I teach this normally, what I'll do is we'll break into groups of 2, and we'll do this for 15 minutes. And you can't be done until the 15 minutes are over. And by the end of this, guys, you will have amazing information and rapport built with people sitting next to you that you didn't know before, just through that time and through the questions that are being asked. So this is a big deal. As we get ready to jump into the next step, so step 1 is greeting. Step 2 is understand their problem, right? Remember, because if we don't know their problem, we cannot show them a solution. Okay. Remember, we're throwing notes out the window. We're just making this up from scratch right here. Now that we understand their problem, Shelby, what's the next thing we should do in the sales process?
Give them a solution.
Oh my gosh, what? Advise a solution? Guys, you can't script this. This is amazing. You guys are writing this for me. Okay? Advise a solution. That's what we got to do. And this language is really, really intentional. Because if you think about this, in a lot of sales classes, they talk about presentation or your sales pitch. And a lot of the ground we cover is going to be very similar, but I believe that words matter. It's why we use the word understand instead of qualification or discovery, because qualification and discovery is me doing something to you. Understanding is for your best interest, okay? That's why we advise a solution. Now, let's think about this. Everybody wants to retire someday. If you go to a financial advisor and you're looking to, grow your resources so that someday you can retire comfortably, and they don't ask you a single question about your income, about your debt, about your assets, can they advise you on a solution? No. I would argue that we should think about ourselves like financial advisors. We cannot offer our clients a solution unless we understand their pain. We have to advise a solution. And when we advise a solution, there's a couple things. Like we just talked about, you can't advise unless you understand. So you got to be critical in understanding, and you should take more time understanding than advising. But in the understanding phase, the customer has loaded the sales shotgun for us. So if we make up a situation and we say that Pete and his wife come in and they talk to us during the understanding phase, we find out that their old gas log set that was match light actually had a leak one time because when we went to turn the pilot light on, they forgot what they were doing and they left the room, and the gas was actually leaking a little bit. And the house didn't burn down, but there was some huge damage that was done inside that room. Okay, it's a very real situation. So if we find that out, that is a huge piece of ammunition that's been put into the sales shotgun. So now that we're advising a solution, what would be something that we should maybe talk about based on that information?
Thermocouple system.
Yep, thermocouple system.
Something that prevents that from ever happening again.
Yeah, safety, okay? So he's just loaded the sales shotgun for us. Yeah, Pete, I cannot imagine how terrifying that would be. We never want that to happen again. I think this fireplace right here is going to be the perfect one for you. And the reason why is that I know you mentioned when you tried to turn it off last time, that gas key just didn't go all the way. You're never going to have to touch that gas key again. These new fireplaces have a remote control. You turn it on, you turn it off. There is no second guessing this thing. And this fireplace, instead of just being open and leaking gas into your room, this actually has a sealed glass on the front of it. There is zero risk of gas ever getting into your house. This will never happen to you again. As opposed to, this is a great fire. This is 30,000 BTUs an hour. This is sealed combustion. And the modulating remote on this thing is going to save you so much money. You're not going to have that gas problem. And the way that it works with the venting is direct vent technology. Which one of those is going to make a bigger difference, right? One of them used the sales shotgun, pointed at the problem, and fired based on what he said, and one of them just spewed random information and hoped that something stuck, okay? If you point the sales shotgun at your customer, you will kill your sale. But if you point the sales shotgun at the problem they have, you will win the sale. So you got to use that information in the understanding phase. And this goes to the next thing, and this is a repeat from what we talked about before, is you don't give the customer too many bowling balls. So you think about that. Every time you're giving a piece of information to the customer, you're handing them a bowling ball. So if he's told me this terrible story about safety and a gas leak, I don't want to give him the bowling ball of a clean face front with a micro mesh screen. I don't. I mean, maybe for a different customer, but not for him, right? I want to make sure that I'm giving him bowling balls that relate to his problem, and I can only pick 2 bowling balls, maybe 3, but I cannot give him more than he can handle. We really want to be aware of that. The next thing is that in this process we got to speak at a 1 or a 2. We talked before about the curse of knowledge. So often we operate at a 9 or a 10. And I'm gonna pick on BTUs, but we think about this, and I mean, we're all guilty of it. I've been guilty of it, of telling a customer this is 30,000 BTUs an hour, it's got a 50% turn down rate. I'm so guilty of that. But at the end of the day, what's a BTU? I mean, do they know what it is? We talked about this last time, right? The amount of energy required to raise 1 pound of water, 1 degree Fahrenheit at sea level. Great, like, sweet. You're getting 30,000 of them, you know?
Where do I sign?
Yeah. That's right. Where do I sign?
Where do we go from here?
Yeah. Was that? That's right. Was that Ernest Hemingway you just quoted? Can you get out that piece of paper for me? Okay. Speaking of 1 or a 2. So if you can't explain BTUs at a 1 or a 2, don't talk about it. You can just say, you know what? This is going to give you plenty of warmth. I've got the same fireplace in my house, and I'm actually heating like a great room that's connected to my kitchen, and it sounds like your situation's pretty similar. Trust me, you'll get more than enough heat. This is going to be amazing for you. They don't need more than that. They really don't. And I've had people accuse me of saying, I've had people stand up my courses, well, they come in wanting BTUs, and they want only because we have confused them into thinking it matters. I mean, it's the only reason why. And again, BTUs in the technical sense matter. But at the end of the day, it's like calories. What's a calorie? I don't know. I mean, I know that I'm supposed to have 2,000 of them in a day, but do I know what a calorie is? No. At some point, as you win credibility, if someone asks, well, what is 30,000 BTUs? You can honestly say, you know what? It's a really complex measurement of heat that has to do with raising water energy at sea level. But I'll tell you the big thing here. The fireplace I got in my house is 30,000 BTUs, just like this, and it sounds like our situations are pretty similar. We found it gives us more than enough warmth, and trust me, it's going to do the same for you. Really want to explain that at a 1 or a 2. There's ways to explain direct vent technology, IPI systems, and everything else at a 1 or a 2 as well, but you got to talk that way with customers. I know that I'm going fast. Any questions about advising a solution here? Does anything maybe sound off or anything resonate or is different than you thought about before? Nothing. Stunned silence. This is what I would advise. And okay, we got a little bit of time here. So does anybody want to be a brave volunteer? All right, Rob. Okay. So here's your situation, Rob. So here's what you're going to tell me. So your fireplace, here's the specs of it. Your fireplace has 30,000 BTUs an hour. It's got a 50% turn down rate. It's got IPI, thermostatic remote, direct vent technology, fiber logs, and a brick refractory. Okay? So you know, based on our conversation when you were asking me questions, you know that we just had our remodel done and we've got crazy insulation value in our house. We just replaced our windows. Our house is like really, really tight, okay? And we want something that looks beautiful. Okay, so those are the 2 pieces of information that I gave you. And you can come up here and talk to me. So here's your bag of tools right here. Okay, I just reinsulated my house. I got super tight windows, R value out the wall, and I've got I want it to look really, really cool. Like I want something that just looks ballin'. I want my friends to be impressed. How would you advise my solution?
I don't know if I would sell you that 30,000 BTU fireplace.
This is what you have to work with.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, in regards to the fireplace you're looking at, I know the decorative features are important to you. One thing I want to talk about is for your interior panels, you're going to have a couple options. For the brick refractory, that's going to be your paneling on the inside. Now the log set, typically there are a couple different log sets that go in the fireplace. The fiber log set's actually pretty sweet. So it's
how come?
A high definition log set. So what it's going to do for you is, when you're really looking at coals and they start to burn and glisten.
Oh yeah.
That's what that log set's going to do. So it's going to kind of give you that wow factor when your friends and family come in. Not going to be something that you're going to see a couple twigs burning. It's actually going to draw people towards it. Okay. As far as you remodeling your house, cool thing about your fireplace is if you do get those super, super cold days, you'll be able to turn it down. You have the option to turn it down, but you also have the option to turn it up. I don't know if I would really touch on anything else. I mean, I'd probably just touch on those 2 things.
Yeah, awesome, dude. Thank you. Give Rob a hand. Okay, so he picked the right 2 pieces of ammunition, right? R value house. Turn up doesn't matter. Talk turn down. Okay? I mean, honestly, dude, 30,000 BTUs, that is a ton of heat. For most homes, it is a ton of heat. Now, it might be colder here than where I'm in Portland, but 30,000 BTUs, that's a lot of heat. Okay? But turn down. If I've got like R, 1500 in my house and I've got super insulated windows, talk turn down, talk features. So where you really hit it well was when you said, you know what is really sweet? These fiber logs. Just the way that you spoke to me with casual confidence was really good. You know, I would push and say, try to avoid words like brick refractory. You know, always, you know, hey, you know what's really cool with this? You know, these fiber logs. You know when you're looking at a fireplace and you see those glowing coals inside, dude, that drew me in. Like I'm in this presentation. I know it's a joke, but like I was drawn in when you said that. You know when you look at a fire, you just see those glowing coals, and that's exactly how this is going to be. Okay. You know, with all that R value inside your house from the remodel that you just did, the last thing on earth that you want to do is spend $5,000, $10,000 on a fireplace that you never get to use because you turn it on, you're sitting there sweating. You know, this model, it's got a 50% turn down rate, which means that when you're too warm, you just turn that sucker down, and you're going to be so comfortable in that space.
You also addressed with your family in the space, engaging with the product.
Yes.
And I thought that was awesome.
Yes, that was totally awesome. You want to talk about those moments. People buy for emotional reasons. They justify it logically, but they buy for emotional reasons. They really do. So I would encourage you guys, you know, with your teams, practice advising a customer. You know, throw out the ammunition that they have in their toolbox of, you know, but throw it out in technical terms. So say, okay, you've got a 42-inch linear fireplace. It's got 25,000 BTUs an hour. It can option a fan, a light kit, you know, whatever. But like, give them a real situation and really role play this. It will make a difference with your teams. And one of the most powerful things that you can do. If you guys listen to my podcast, I had a friend on it a couple weeks ago named Tim Rethlick, and he's this sales guru from Hearth & Home Technologies. And he was talking, and he said that I got to count how many words this is. It's 3 words, multiple syllables, but 3 words. Okay, these 3 words are so powerful when you're advising a solution. Because you said. Rob, I would love to show you this fireplace, and I think this is going to be a great fit for your situation. You know, this actually has a 50% turn down rate, and here's what that is. You know, most fireplaces, they give you a bunch of heat, but like a blowtorch, and they don't turn down, so people won't get to use them. Well, you're gonna be able to turn this thing down upwards of 50%. That means that you're using half the gas, you're saving money, and you're having way less warmth coming out of it. I know that's important because you mentioned how insulated your house is. Because you said. You are tying it back to them. You are not the salesperson, they are the salesperson. Because you said. That's how you use the sales shotgun, okay? In everything you do when you hand them a bowling ball, because you said. If they didn't say it, you know, don't mention that feature. You know, it always has to piggyback because you mentioned. Yeah, I know you mentioned that you want something that just blows your neighbors away. Let me show you this over here. These linear fireplaces just look amazing. And I'm telling you, this log set, once this thing gets going, it will blow your neighbors away. I know it's important because you said how much you guys entertain. I want people, when you're having that Super Bowl party, I want them to just be knocked off their feet with this thing. Because you said. Because you said. Because you said. You know, and I would do this when you're doing your practice, debrief on insider language that you shouldn't use in your showrooms. Like, we have a list of dirty words that like we're not allowed to use on the sales floor. BTUs, zero clearance. Insert is questionable. We try not to use it, but there's times where you end up doing it. But make a list of these words that you try to avoid. You know, if a customer brings them into the picture, then you can roll with it, but don't be the one to introduce these words. It'll be really effective in the way that you advise a solution. When you compare the conversation that me and Rob just had to your average competitor, how many square feet you got? Yeah, that's 30,000 BTUs, and you know we've been selling this model for 30 years, and this uses an intermittent pilot ignition system these things are just great. The high efficiency because the steel combustion is just incredible. You know, there's such a big difference when you make it about them. Don't make your business the hero, make the customer the hero. Here's the thing, when you realize that the customer wants to be the hero of their own story, and you can come alongside as their advisor to help them get there. It's like your financial advisor, right? You know, if you start when you're 25 years old, you can be a multimillionaire when you're 60. You know, but your financial advisor is not the hero. Like you're the one that did this. They just helped you get there. And that's the same thing with your customers. Too many businesses want to make themselves the hero. They sit there and beat their chests about their features, their benefits. We're the best. We got the best brands. We've been doing this for 30 years. No one cares. No one cares about that stuff. You know, leave it behind and talk about how it solves the customer's problems. If you can make them the hero and you can be the advisor, you're going to sell a ton of fireplaces. Any questions about advising a solution? Yeah.
With insider language specific, like how do you, like for example, you said try not to use the word insert.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking, how do you even figure out that they need an insert without? I don't know. I just feel like it could be difficult to even.
Google their house and look at a picture of it.
We do that a lot with contests. Yeah, that can help sometimes when I'm confused.
Yeah. I mean, I would say this, and I get this a lot. So, like when we do sales practice, I've had people critique me because we'll sell an insert, and they'll say, "Well, Tim, you never explained that it was an insert, not a zero clearance fireplace." And my question is, did they need to know? They're buying a fireplace. I mean, if they need to know, then absolutely explain it. What I would say is I would just ask questions about, hey, tell me about your house. One of my favorite questions is a closed-ended question. Is this on an outside wall or an inside wall? I love that question. If it's on an outside wall, so if you walk around to the back of your house and you're taking a look at that chimney, what do you see? Is it made of bricks like a stonemason, built it with the house, or is it just sided like the rest of the house? There's a lot of questions that you can start to push on with that. When you look at the chimney, do you see bricks all the way up the top, or you see just a pipe sticking out of the house? And here, let's get your address. Let's take a look at Google Earth here and see if that helps us out. But nowhere in there do we have to talk about insert. We can just say, yeah, hey, that's perfect. I think we got the perfect fireplace for you. If you do go to insert, you could say something like, yeah, so it looks like that you've got this brick fireplace from the 70s. Man, we got a great fireplace insert that's going to go great inside of there. But don't belabor the point of like, well, this is an insert, and inserts are made to go inside of brick chimneys, and we have other kinds of fireplaces. They're called zero clearance units. Those are made to go inside of combustible framed walls. You don't want to put an insert inside of a zero clearance, otherwise you burn your house down. So anyway, let's go over here and take a look at it. Have you people do this though? People do this.
It's like who's on first with some of these people.
Oh my gosh.
These are bigger and nicer, but you can't have that. So let's look at it.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I mean, guys. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm telling the story. So I'm not going to say who it was, but I have seen a person I care very deeply about get his face this far away from a customer's and say, "Well, I don't care what you have. I'll tell you what you can get." And he had the best of intentions. He had the best of intentions, but did not communicate that very well to the customer. No. They were just a looky-loo. They were just tire kickers. They weren't that serious. Okay. So advise the customer. Let them be the hero. The next step in the sales process. This is so critical. Okay. So let's think about this. Remember, we're building the steps in the sales process. So who remembers step 1 in the process? Greeting. Perfect. Step 2. Understand their problem. Step 3. Advise a solution, and you can't advise unless you understand. Okay, so Randy, I want to put you on the spot now because you've been killing it. Okay, now that we understand their situation, this one's not super intuitive, so I'm gonna throw a couple things out. Okay, when customers come into our showrooms, do they understand all the steps involved with buying a fireplace?
They do not.
They do not. Okay. Very often, after they come into the showroom, maybe what would be the logical next step that they would need to take?
We'd need a home visit.
Okay, yep, home visit, absolutely. Do the customers know coming in that they need to get a home visit necessarily? Okay, so now that we've greeted them, we understand their situation, we've advised a solution, but they don't have an idea after that what might be a good next step. I'm trying to draw out an answer. It's totally okay.
So
being that they're not familiar with what we do.
This time before I offer to come to your house, I'm going to find out if you got any money.
Okay, very good. And you should absolutely be doing that inside of here. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what.
And most of the time, I'll say so. I'll find the right place, but I'll say so. If you're like most of our customers that come in, you have unlimited budget. And then
that's a great one.
How many times that'll break the ice?
Yep.
So I'll do that sooner than later sometimes. But we like to give a budget because if somebody's coming in thinking that they're going to get a fireplace and framing for $3,000,
yep,
it's kind of time to start saving your pennies.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. That's a good one. But I want to keep pushing on this. So, what were you going to say?
Can I interject there?
Yeah.
So we've done just recently, just like in the last 6 to 8 months, we actually started taking money before we go for our home visit. It's been super successful. So I take a deposit in the showroom before I ever fill in the job. I know they have money. They put it down.
Some people do. Some don't. that can totally work.
I call it the summarize and close. And the close, you cannot close a deal until you either close an appointment or you exchange, taking money.
I think first you have to give them an estimate.
Summarize and close.
Okay.
With a commitment.
I absolutely agree. It's not the next step, and I think that we could come up with this together, okay? The next step in the sales process, ask for permission. Very good. Okay, so the customer doesn't know what's next. So what should we do next? Yes! Set expectations. Make a plan. So the customer doesn't know what's next. They don't know they need an estimate. They don't know they need an in-home preview. They don't know how the installation works. The next step, before we get to the close, because the close is totally critical, and everything you guys said is great, make a plan. There's an amazing marketing book out there that's called Building a Story Brand. It's not a sales book, it's a marketing book, but I'll tell you guys, man, buy it, read it, and you will change the way that you interact with customers based on it. But they talk a lot about making a plan. The analogy that they give is that when your customers come into your showroom, they are standing on the edge of a river. And that water is flowing, and they are terrified. They know that they want to get to the other side. They know that they want whatever, romance or a better-looking house or heat efficiency, whatever the reason was, right? But they have no idea how to get across that river. Most of the time, they get intimidated, they turn around. We lose more jobs to indecision than competition. When we make a plan, we are putting rocks in the river. You know what? First you're going to step here, and then you're going to step here, and then you're going to step here. If you do that, you're going to end up on the other side. Make a plan with your customers. So now that we have advised a solution, lay out what's next. So we could talk about, hey, Isaac, I really appreciate your time in the showroom today. We've looked around and found some amazing things. So what I'd like to do next is we want to get you guys that amazing fireplace. So here's what the next steps would be. So first, we would write you up an estimate so that way you can go home with something today and understand where this is going to cost you to make sure that it pencils out for you. Secondly, we'll come out to the house at no charge or for a charge, and we're going to just verify everything that we talked about today so that no one is in the dark about this, and you're going into it with your eyes open. Lastly, we'll get it installed safely into code. We'll even pull a permit so you can verify it was done properly. Okay? It sounds so simple. Honestly, and in our heads we think they should know this, but they don't. They have no idea. I'm telling you, if you give them the steps to take, they will take it. They really will. So in every situation here, when it comes to a plan, no more than 4 steps. I'd prefer 3. I know things are complicated. We talked about how many steps the buying process is. Condense it into 3. You got to think about this too. When the customer's in your showroom, this is a first date. This is not, we're not at the altar yet. Okay, it's a first date. So on a first date with someone, it's usually best not to vomit up all of your past relational baggage and talk about all your ex-wives and your all the drama that's in your family. You don't do that on the first date. You save that for later. Okay, what do you do on the first date? You show that you're competent. You show that you're attractive. You try to win a second date. You make it about them. Okay, this is a first date. Keep it to 3 simple steps. They can learn about the rest of it later as we go down the path, but you can boil it into 3 steps. Whatever it is, get an estimate, in-home visit, installation, or deposit. In-home visit, whatever. There can be 3 or 4 steps, but you show those to the customer concretely, and you show them that if you take these steps, you're going to get this result. It goes back to the sales shotgun. You got to know what their problem is. You got to say, hey, if you take these steps, that problem's going away. You are never dealing with it again. So you got to make a plan. Here's the thing in the plan. Doing business with you needs to be part of it. So if the plan doesn't involve doing business with you, you're just, treading water. So you got to make sure that in that plan, it can be direct or indirect, but somehow, if the plan is get an estimate, in-home visit, installation, well, what's step 2.5? It's give me some money, okay? But it doesn't have to be that. You could just say, hey, step 1 is that we're going to do an in-home visit. After that, we'll take a deposit to get everything going for you, and after that, we'll install it. It doesn't. You can be direct or indirect with that, but doing business with you needs to be part of the plan. And then lastly, it should lead to their problem being solved. This is such a big deal. The plan has to lead to the problem getting solved. And again, it's really simple. It's not rocket science. And honestly, nothing here that I'm saying today is, but us taking these steps, it's made such a difference. It has grown our business by millions because we are being intentional with what we do. And customers really respond to it. So we're catching back up on time a little bit, so I want to jump into some practice. So we are going to take 5 minutes, and we are going to number off 1, 2, 1, 2, starting with you, Isaac. So what are you?
1,
2,
1,
2,
1, 2,
1, 2.
1, 2.
Okay, perfect. So, fine. Oh, Pete? Yeah, there you go. Okay. Here's what you have to do. Find someone in the room that is your number that you do not know. Okay? Right now, find someone in the room, and we're going to take 5 minutes. We're going to work on this.
1.
or 2.
Wait, so what are we doing now?
Well, I'll tell you in a second.
Okay. Not that it's very common, but
Okay, number 1. You guys are amazing. You know your numbers. We have math majors in here. This does not always happen. Great job. Okay, here's the situation. Number 1, you guys are going to work on a 3-step plan for a customer who needs service on their fireplace. Their fireplace is broken. You're trying to sell them on a service call. 3-step plan. Okay? Same for you guys right there. You guys are creating a plan for selling a wood stove. And Mark, you're going to do that as well. And Amy, you guys are going to make a plan for a customer that's going to buy a gas insert. And same with Shelby, with you guys in the back. Kim, you guys are going to create a 3-step plan for a contractor that is doing a remodel job, looking at a fireplace. And same with you, Pete. Is there anyone that doesn't have a situation? Okay, 3-step plan. Remember, doing business with your company needs to be part of the steps. It needs to solve their problem. We're going to take 5 minutes. Go.
and this would be after the advising.
Yep.
So we would be at the point where we're ready to go.
You're laying out what's next. And I'll walk around if you guys have any questions. No, I didn't. I told people, I totally forgot the last class. At the beginning of this one, I told people to sign up if they were here.
If they needed the credits?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing would be...
Yeah, so the contractor's in, you've talked to him, and you've got an idea of the spec, and you're going to say, hey, perfect, I understand the house that you have. I think we got a great fireplace solution. Here's what's next. 1, 2, 3. How's it going? I'm Tim.
Tim, Dan.
Good to meet you, Dan.
Likewise. Good show.
Thank you. I'm going to tell you this, the plan cannot be too simple. Do not overthink it. The plan cannot be too simple. How's it going, man? I'm Tim.
I'm Ryan.
Good to meet you, Ryan.
Actually, I heard you in Nashville last year.
Oh, seriously?
Expo.
Awesome,
yeah,
man.
really
Thank
good.
you.
So,
Appreciate that.
One of my favorite ones that I went to. So.
Dude, thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah.
Do you work here at Fireplace Warehouse?
Yeah, I'm
Sweet.
down in Colorado Springs, so I'm
Oh,
the
nice.
service director down there.
Cool.
So,
That's awesome.
just up here for get some parts and drop some parts off.
Yeah.
See what's going on. I haven't been up here since the remodel started. So.
Oh, yeah. It looks good.
Gotta try to get out before traffic gets too hairy.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Hey, thank you.
Are you want a problem that we've advised them to be more complicated, or just simple?
So what's your guys' situation?
Gas and sir.
Gas insert. Okay. So let's just let's imagine that I'm sick of having a drafty room.
That's what we created a
Okay.
fictitious problem.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And it doesn't have, like, it can be, people overthink this. It doesn't have to be overthought. But Yeah, so let's,
But that was our first easy answer,
Yeah.
easy problem. They're like,
Yeah.
it has to be more complicated.
So,
What?
yeah, because we're thinking we got to figure it out then.
okay, we got 2 minutes. You guys got your 1, 2, 3? Everyone's writing it down?
It's got to be written down.
Well, unless you guys have it memorized. All right.
I started talking to them. Yeah, you're right.
Identify what needs to be. I made a sandwich. Looking for some nice filling. I'm thinking.
Okay. What's that one? That's the critical one.
Right.
Okay. Hey,
Identify the parts.
number 1. Thanks a ton for the time. I understand you got a broken fireplace. What we're going to do first is we're going to come out and just get the info on the fireplace. Secondly, we will
Identify the parts that have a problem.
Okay. Third, we will
Fix it.
keep that to yourself for now. Okay, 30 seconds.
So we can combine all three. We'll fix it. And then schedule future services.
Same process every time. Yeah, we do so.
Okay, let's get back to our seats now. Hey, first of all, is it good getting to know somebody you didn't know before? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys this. And I'm going to throw a good friend of mine under the bus. The first time we did this was probably 4 years ago in my company. And I'm talking about the same thing I'm talking about here. Guys, we got to make a plan for our customers. We got to show them. They don't know the steps that are next. They got this river. They don't know how to get across it. They think they're going to drown. We got to put rocks in the river. So I talked before, for years. We had a guy that worked for us. He had 45, 50 years industry experience. He was 77 years old, like the best, most wise salesperson I've ever met in my life. And I said, okay, guys, we have a customer. They've got a broken fireplace. We need a 3-step plan to get them to their solution. What's step 1? He stands up, build trust. No. This is what we are telling them what we are going to do, okay? Hey, thanks for your time. Number 1 with today, we're going to build trust. No. Okay? I said, no, guys. Okay, what's step 1? Someone else goes, identify their needs and address pain points. No. That's not what. Okay, Mr. Customer, hey, first step 1, we're going to identify your needs and address those pain points for you. No. And literally, we went around because we overthink it. Like, you cannot make this too simple. Besides Isaac, does anybody want to throw out their plan? Yeah, what was your problem? Or situation?
Selling a wood stove.
Okay, selling a wood stove. Perfect.
All right. So here's what I'd like to do from here. I'd like to come out to your place. I'm going to find the wood stove that you love and it's going to solve your problem. Okay? If it fits your budget, I'm going to ask you for about half down. That's going to go ahead and get everything ordered. As soon as everything comes in, my office is going to call and schedule a hard date for installation. We're going to come out and install it to your satisfaction. You can pay us the rest of the money, and then we're done. How's that sound?
Unbelievable. Super, super good. And what were those 3 steps? Step 1 was?
I want to come out to the house.
Step 2?
I'm going to find a wood stove that you love and solves your problem.
And step 3?
I'm going to ask you for the money to get it ordered, and when we put it in, I'll ask you for the rest.
Amazing. Companies don't do that to customers. They don't do that. They beat around the bush. They go in all these different directions. Amazing plan. Good job, Randy. Who else had one? Oh, no, you guys were partners there. Amy, what did you guys have?
Sorry.
And what was your situation?
Selling a gas insert.
Okay.
So because we understand that you have that drafty area in your home, what I'd love to do is provide you with an estimate today on this gas insert we think will fit your space perfectly. Then we'd love to come out and just verify that the unit will fit exactly as we anticipate. And then next, we'd like to come out and install that product for you to code and eliminate that drafty area.
Amazing. Give it to me in a 1, 2, 3.
Estimate.
No. Like if I'm the customer.
Okay. On site, or we're going to provide you with an estimate.
But speak to me as if like, hey, first we're going to do this. Second.
First, we're going to provide you with an estimate on And third, we're going to come out and install a Resonator program.
Amazing. Anybody else got one? What did you guys have, Isaac?
So we're gonna get the info for your fireplace.
And what was your situation?
Servicing the fireplace.
Yep.
So we're gonna get the model, make and model of your fireplace. So we know what we're working with. We'll come out and identify the broken parts, what needs fixing, and then 3, we're gonna schedule you for us to come out again next year.
So, but you haven't fixed my fireplace. So you've identified the parts.
I forgot to write it down.
I'm pushing. That's okay. What did you guys have? Oh, Shelby, what did you guys have? What was the situation?
Gas insert.
Okay.
First off, we're going to come out to your home and make sure that what we look at today is going to fit and work properly. Then we're going to go ahead and get it ordered for you, and lastly, we'll come and install it.
Perfect. And who had the builder situation? Yeah, Kim, what did you guys have?
So,
And this is for a builder in a remodel looking at a fireplace. Yeah.
So we narrow down what unit they want. So then we're going to provide them with specs, do an on-site estimate, order the product.
Perfect. Yeah, amazing. I'm telling you, doing this for your customers, it gives such clarity. And I would keep it 1, 2, 3. Hey, I know it can seem overwhelming to get a fireplace, but you know what? If we knock out these 3 things, you're going to be taken care of. First, what we'll do is this. Second, we'll do this. Third, we'll do this. We're going through the service thing. This was 4 years ago with my team, and it took us like an hour and a half to get to what you guys came up with in 5 minutes. And everyone's talking, well, I got to build trust. I got to build rapport. You're like, no. Okay. Hey, step 1 is we're going to get your make and model information, and that way we know exactly what fireplace you have. Next, we're going to order the right parts for you, and third, we're going to come out and fix it. Literally, that will give clarity to customers. They will buy from you when you do that. It sounds so simple, but you're speaking at a 1 or a 2. It's what customers need. So thank you for entertaining me with follow-up. We're going to fly here at the end. Guys, once you have done the make a plan, it's time for the call to action. We've made a plan. Step 1, what we were going to do is we're going to write up an estimate for you. After that, we'll come out to the house and take a look at the fireplace to make sure that everything we talked about in the showroom pertains to what's actually going on in your house. And third, we're going to get that installed safely for you. What's the call to action? Okay, here's the plan. Step 1, get an estimate. You need to get an estimate. Step 2, we got to go to your house. Step 3, we got to install it. What's the call to action?
Give me your money.
Nope, we can't. No, because they don't know how much it's going to cost yet. Remember, step 1 in the plan is you got to get an estimate. Step 2 is once you have the estimate, we got to go to the house. Step 3 is we're going to install it. So the call to action is let's get you an estimate. The call to action is whatever the next step in the plan is. So you've made this plan, now you're calling them to action. Remember, standing on the edge of a river. First, if you step here, it's going to be good. Then you step here. Then you step here. So your call to action is always the first step of the plan. Now, if someone jumps ahead and wants to give you money, take it. But the call to action, remember, slow is fast. Slow is fast, not fast is slow. You think about the sales pipeline. We talked about this a little bit in the last presentation. In our company, jobs have basically 4 stages. Stage 1 is they've received an estimate. Stage 2, we've scheduled an in-home visit. Stage 3, we've completed the in-home visit. Stage 4, the job is either won, lost, or on hold. Those are the only options that we have. So if I'm talking to a customer that I have not written up an estimate for, I cannot ask them for money. They don't know what it's going to cost. So my call to action is, why don't we get you an estimate today? And guess what? Is that very intimidating? No, but they've just taken their first step. Okay, so we take a few minutes, we write the estimate up, we're talking about what a good fit it's going to be. What's the next call to action? Now we're out at their house. Hey, Mrs. Smith, this is going to be perfect. We measured it up, and oh my gosh, with the ceilings and the way that your kitchen is, this is going to look so beautiful. What's the next call to action?
Taking their money.
Take their money. 100%. 100%. We got to have the right call to action, though. So here's the thing. Customers want to be called to action. They really, really do. And you got to be confident, not creepy. Do not beat around the bush. Ask for what you want. If you beat around the bush, you are a creepy salesperson that customers don't want to buy from. Ask for what you want. The other week, I was in Fort Worth for a sales conference, and it had to do with builder sales. And what they did is we went through 2 days of this conference. It's just this unbelievable workshop. And we're going through all these different sales fundamentals things. And at the end of it, what they did is they flew in high-level VPs from national builders all over the country that were buddies with the guy that was doing it. They opened the door, they brought in all these people, and they said, you got 20 minutes to prepare for your meeting. Go. Okay? So we all got assigned. So we had 20 minutes to get a crash course. What's their account? How are they buying? What are they looking at? And so we have this meeting. So we're having a meeting with the builder as if it's the real thing. And afterwards, the builders gave feedback. They sat up on the stage. They gave very honest, candid feedback from the sales drills. Over and over, they said, if you want me to buy from you, ask me. I can't read your mind. I wish that they would have been more direct. I wish that someone would just, tell me what you sell, tell me how it's going to make my life easier, and then just ask me to buy. Like literally that came out of their mouth. They said, I don't care about, the golf game. I don't care about beating around the bush. Like, ask for what you want. So if you want a site visit, ask for a site visit. Well, here's a business card, staple it to the brochure. You just give us a call when you're ready. Don't do it. Ask for what you want. That's being creepy. I think back to when I was in high school, and I knew my wife since freshman year in high school, and I was socially awkward. I was a band nerd, and my wife was like really cool and awesome. And in math class, like I really liked her. Like I just kind of like hope she got the hint. Like I sat by her and like I figured that she'd just get the hint eventually. She didn't. Like she didn't get the hint until I stepped up and said, you know what, I really like you. I would love to buy you a cup of coffee. Okay. Be confident with your customers. Remember, you're solving a problem. There's nothing creepy. There's nothing that's misleading about it. If you are solving a problem, call them to action. It's a service to your customers. Affirm how it solves their problem. Think about how there's always a next step. There is always a next step. And here's the example I would give is, it's kind of like, if what you want to do with your customers is say, will you marry me? No. Will you marry me? No. Will you date me? Yes. Will you date me? Yes. Will you date me again? Yes. Will you marry me? No. How about another date? Yes. Okay. Now will you marry me? Guess what? You're going to win. And that plays into our next step here. But you got to always have a next step. If they don't want an estimate, hey, you know what? I got a great picture from an install that we just did the other week. I'd love to email it to you. I think it's going to look amazing. Okay. Now what do you have? Yes, absolutely. There is always a next step. Do not let someone walk out of the showroom without establishing a next step. You got to do that, and that's the call to action. You are always calling to action, but you're always calling to action on the next step in the process. You are not jumping ahead. If you jump ahead, again, slow is fast. If you jump ahead, it's going to be fast as slow. You're going to burn yourself on the back end. Here's the thing is that there's a cost of not doing business. So let's think about this situation. Let's go back to my house when I first moved in. Ugly brass fireplace. My wife hates it. I have to paint the fireplace black because she wants me to get rid of the brass louvers. It's all fogged up. It was this B-vent fireplace that literally, it has a fan that is forced to turn on. There's only a high speed. It sounds like like a jet engine every time we turn it on. That's the pain that I am living with now. What is the cost to me if I decide not to buy a fireplace from you? Yes. What's another cost? Yes. Anything else? Yes. Okay. There's a cost to not doing business with you. Tell that to your customers. Don't, you got to ride this line a little bit. You don't want to be all negative, but you need to throw out the cost of not doing business with you. I mean, even if it's, do you want to get an estimate? And they say, no, we're just here looking around. Hey, I totally understand that. I mean, you guys drove all the way here. I know there's a million brochures, a million fireplaces. I don't want you to go home and forget everything and you just wasted 3 hours of your day. What if we just wrote up that estimate today just so that you've got clarity on how much this is going to cost? Okay? Tell them the cost of not doing business with you. If you are in the home where it's time you're actually asking for the money and they say, we're still thinking about it. Hey, I totally understand. Anytime that you're making a big purchasing decision like this, it's a big deal. I absolutely understand that. I don't want you to go another year with this brass fireplace and this fan making that noise. I mean, if your wife has been on your case about it for 5 years, I want you to still be married next year. If you're going to do it next year, you may as well just do it right now. We always are nervous about big decisions. What do you say we just make that happen and you live the life you always wanted? Okay, talk about the cost of not doing business with you. Do it, do it, do it. Don't overdo it. You want to talk about their success and their life, but there is a cost of not doing business with you. Be honest about it. Don't be deceitful, but be honest about it. Now, here's the thing in the call to action too. There's direct and indirect calls to action. So do you want an estimate? That's a direct call to action. Can I send you a brochure? What's an indirect call to action? there's different ways that you can play this, but either way, you're always leading the customer down to the next step. So call to action. Again, if we're going through a sales process, step one was understanding. Step one was greeting. Step two was understand their problem. Step three, advise the solution. Step four, make a plan. Step five, call to action. Let's say that you call to action. So let's say you get the estimate, and they don't want to site visit. They want to look around still for a little bit. Okay? What's the next step in the sales process? Follow up. Pursuit. Guys, this is such a big deal, pursuit. And are you guys okay if I go like 10 minutes over? We started a little bit late. I think we got time to do it. This is really important, though, and I'm glad that we're getting to go a little bit deeper. But pursuit. Do you guys remember I said the most neglected part of the sales process, which one it was? Understanding. This is a close second. So if you guys listen to my podcast, literally the one that came out last Tuesday, I talked with some people about this issue, and this is a multi-million-dollar problem for businesses. I'm not exaggerating when I say that for your business, depending on how big you are, this is at least $1 million problem, at least. We don't follow up with our customers. We don't pursue the job. And there's a lot of reasons for this, but almost everybody misses pursuit. You think about this. If a customer's driven 30 minutes to come see you, they've spent 45 minutes in your showroom, you've been out to their house, and then you just stop? Is that a service to them? How come? What have you just done if you don't follow up? Do people like to have their time wasted?
Not really.
No. Yeah. We cannot waste their time. And this is scary. So far, the way we've done the sales process has been very unassuming, right? When you break it down to simple steps, well, let's just get an estimate. I mean, as a wimpy salesperson, there's no money. Let's just get an estimate. Okay, let's go out to your house and take a look at it, right? Now, then you got to step up to the plate and you got to ask for the money. But this is a scary step in the process, and salespeople don't like it. Why is the pursuit step in the sales process scary?
Because a lot of people say no.
Yes.
We don't want no.
And what is that in our minds? Rejection. Yes. We can't be afraid of rejection. Sales is a game of arithmetic and self-awareness. So I'll just tell you guys, in our company, you've got, on the scale of team members, you got A players, B players, and C players. We have a guy in our company, heart of gold, love this guy. But he is not an A player salesperson. You wouldn't meet him and talk to him and be like, oh my gosh, that was just unbelievable. I can't wait to buy from him. But he masters follow-up. And I'm telling you, people buy from this guy. And because we have instituted a practice of pursuing our jobs, we have taken a D player in most companies and turned them into a B plus player in our organization. You can do that with pursuit. I mean, sales is a game of arithmetic. If you get more at-bats, you get more sales. If you write up more quotes, you get more sales. If you make more follow-up calls, you get more sales. It's a game of arithmetic. You just got to pump that number up. I mean, work on your close percentage, but man, the easiest way to make more sales, quote an extra 5 customers a week. Measure your quote percentage. Measure how many customers you work with each week. So a good example would be, I don't like to set numbers of like 10 quotes a week or 20 quotes a week because I can't control how many people come into my showroom, but I go by percentages. So if you worked with 10 customers, what's the goal? 70%, 80%, 90%? Because that's something you got control over. But measure that. And I'm telling you, if you get more at-bats and you're doing follow-up calls and you're pursuing jobs, you will win more sales and you can make an amazing salary doing it. So here's the thing with follow-up. I'm really honest. Don't waste money on advertising if you don't follow up. Don't do it. I mean, I know companies that spend over $1 million in advertising and they don't follow up with their customers. Don't do it. I mean, if you're not going to follow up, don't waste money. It's like going fishing with a net that's got a giant hole in it. I give the example, and there's one of the owners of my company talks about picking raspberries, and he always says, Tim, when I was little, I used to go pick raspberries. And I found that if my bucket didn't have a giant hole in it, I could actually, take home a lot more raspberries than the other people whose buckets had a hole in it. And that's the thing when it comes to pursuing a job. If you don't follow up on the job, you've got a hole in your raspberry bucket. And yeah, you might be able to pick some, but you're going to have to work super, super hard to fill that thing up. Put a cap on the bottom of it. When you think about this, so this is a sales funnel. So you guys have seen sales funnels before, right? So it's bigger at the top, it's lower at the bottom. So maybe at the top, you've got the customer being interested in your product, and then a step down, you've got them coming into your showroom. Then a step down, you've got them you've written up an estimate for them, and then a step down is you've been out to their house for the in-home preview, the sales call, the appointment, whatever you call it, okay? Is it easier to get money that pays you commission from customers at the top of the funnel or the bottom of the funnel? Who do we spend the most time going after if we audit our time? That says something. Know your sales pipeline. Keep track of your opportunities. Be a ninja on follow-up. It's important to have the funnel filled, but this is what you get paid on. You don't get paid on this. Work this. If they have trusted you to come out to their house, man, they want to do business. They want you to be right. Now, you might be wrong if your price is out of this world, but I guarantee that your competition is not following up. And if you can do that, you're going to win. I get questions about follow-up all the time. How often should I follow up? When should I stop? When is enough enough? And I have a very inspiring quote that comes from the old direct mail days. And you should follow up until they fly by or die. I mean, you should. You should be following up with customers until they say, yes, I'd love to do business with you. No, I already bought from a competitor. Or we have decided not to do the project. Those are the only reasons you stop following up. Now, again, remember we've got A level, B level, C level, D level opportunities. Did we talk about that in this class yet? So last class, we rate all of our opportunities on a scale of A, B, C, or D. Because some jobs are better than others, If it's a job that's high profit, low time, it's an A job. If it's high risk, low profit, it's a D job. So we classify everything on that scale. I'm not saying on your D-level jobs that you're terrified about that you should follow up all the time. But your A and B level stuff, follow up over and over and over. I would say a minimum of 7 times. And I would say, honestly, like every 3 days. I mean, I would do it every 3 days. As you get further out, maybe go to once a week or every other week. But your first 3-4 follow-ups, they should be like on top of it. And if the customer says, no, we're still looking around, we're getting a bid, what's the first thing you should say? Well, where do you think you're going to be going for that bid? Awesome. When do you think you'll have it by? Would it be okay if we talked on Saturday after you get that bid so we can just look at it side by side together? I mean, let the customer dictate that. I mean, almost every customer will allow you to do that. You're being in favor of them. If you call them back on time, I've done this with customers, and you say, hey, I wanted to give you a call just like we talked about to go over this bid. Oh, well, you know what? They actually haven't gotten us the bid yet. Oh, they haven't? Did they come out to your house? But what day did they say that the bid would be? They said it'd be today? Oh, hey, no. Well, yeah. I mean, do you think you'll get it? Is it gonna be like a week from now? I'll call back then. Literally, I'm not bad mouthing anybody, but they will buy from you doing that. Especially if you wait a week and call them on the day that you said. We've had customers come in. It happened one time where a customer came in and they said, hey, Tim, how you doing? And I was like, oh, am I in trouble? And they said, we came in about 6 months ago. We were looking at a glass door from you. And you never called us back. And we're back in here, but we're just really disappointed. We thought we had a great conversation. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, man. I was like, what? So we talked 6 months ago, and I said, what was your last name? And they gave it to me. I said, oh, yeah. I said, we had an appointment to talk on whatever day it was a while back. And they said, yeah. I was like, hey, let me just come back here to my calendar. So I brought them back to my Outlook calendar. I found the day, and I said, we were supposed to talk at 2:15 p.m. I actually got a note right here. I actually called and left you guys a voicemail. And the wife looks at the husband and she goes, are you kidding me? You think they bought that door from me? They bought it that day. Okay? Be a ninja with your follow-up. It is absolutely worth it. There's got to be a reason, though. So when you call back, you can call back and say, hey, you just touching base, wanted to see if you wanted to go ahead with this. That's fine. It's good to call back with a reason. Hey, Mark, I know that we talked last week about those fireplaces. I was looking around, and we did this amazing install. I wanted to just send you this picture because I think it's exactly what you're looking for. Have you been thinking any more about that project? Okay. That's different than just dialing for dollars. Now, I'm not opposed to dialing for dollars because that's way better than nothing. But if you can call them back with a reason, it's going to gain you credibility. And this is fishing with dynamite. No one else is doing it. Make your follow-up a process. The practice for this is outline what is your process going to be. How many times are you going to follow up? Are you going to do it, every 3 days, every 7 days? How many times are you going to do it before you give up? I mean, like I said, I would do it until they fly by or die. But the reality is, if you want to do it 10 times, 12 times, I would do it at least 7 though. This is actually, so if you're interested in follow-up, there's an amazing company out of Nashville, Tennessee called Spark Marketer. They have a follow-up system that is for the hearth industry that's unbelievable. I personally use it in my company. It is a paid service, and I've got a link that can get you 10% off of it. It's a monthly subscription. Don't feel like you have to, because you can do this for free. But if you want to automate your follow-up and make your lives easier, I can share that with you afterwards. But I would practice it on a phone, practice phone calls. What's that follow-up call like? Script out email templates. Script out 3 templates of what are your first 3 emails that you're going to send like. Do that with your sales team, and you guys are going to start to win. Okay, the last step in the process, guys, we're going over, so we're gonna tune out here in just a second. But the last step of the process, let's say we've called them to action. They said no. We pursued the job. We called them to action again, and they buy from us. The product has been installed now. It's been 2 weeks. What's the last step in the sales process? Gratitude. Gratitude. Show your customers gratitude. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this, but show gratitude with your past customers. Send them a $10 Starbucks card. Ask for a referral. Remember, ask for what you want. They will not get the hint. Hey, if you ever have anyone that could help me, I got these business cards. No. Hey, I sent you a business card. If you've got friends or family, I would love to call them and help them just the same way that you were helped. Ask for what you want. Ask for a referral. But send them a thank you card. Put $10 towards Starbucks in it. Surprise and delight your customers. I mean, how would you feel, if you buy a car or a dishwasher or a appliance, and 2 weeks later you just get a random call. Hey, everything's going great. You got $10 at Starbucks, and by the way, here's 3 business cards. If you got any friends or family that could use my help, I would love to take care of them just like we took care of you. What if after 3 months you get a follow-up call from the salesperson? I just wanted to check in. I wanted to make sure that fireplace is working perfectly for you. Oh, it's working good? Okay, I got to ask, what friends and family have been over there enjoying it with you? Hey, if those friends and family need help, I would love to send you a business card. Ask for that. Show gratitude. If you ask for referrals, you will buy yourself a time machine. Generally speaking, is it easier or harder to sell to people that have been referred to you? Do they generally buy in more or less time?
Less.
Do they generally spend more or less money? Do you actively mine for referrals like you should? Referrals are a time machine. Buy yourself a time machine. Surprise and delight those customers too. If we get a referral, we'll send that customer like a $50 Target card, like an Amazon card. We do not advertise it. We don't say, oh, hey, if you do this, I'll do this. The last thing that I want, if I'm buying a car and they say, hey, well, if your brother-in-law comes in and buys, I've got $250 for you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. In my head, I don't care how nice that person is. I'm thinking, wait, so are you overcharging me by $250? So that's what's going through my head. I don't like you do this, I do this. Nope. Surprise and delight your customers. Surprise and delight. If they randomly get a $50 Target card sent to them or a $50 Starbucks card because they referred their friend and their friend bought, do you think they're going to be stoked if just out of nowhere that happens? And who do you think they're going to be talking about? They're going to be talking about that to their friends and to their family. It's a big deal. So here's the thing, guys. I would recommend writing a thank you letter template that you should write them by hand, but have a template that you can just write and sign the customer's name. You can personalize things with it too. But I would brainstorm things that go well that you could surprise and delight. If you find out they're a Trailblazers fan, like I'm in Portland, instead of a $50 Blazer card, send them a pair of tickets. Send them a T-shirt. Whatever it is, you're going to learn things about them in the understanding phase. It doesn't have to just be a Target card, but do something to surprise and delight those customers. As we're rounding out here, here's the truth, is that we've covered a 7-step sales process, and I've hit you with a fire hose. Like I said, this is normally a 4-hour course. But this only works if you practice it regularly. I would challenge you guys, if you are not regularly practicing for 1 hour every other week with your teams, you are losing money. Sales is a perishable skill. If you are not practicing it, you are getting worse. I'd highly recommend putting it on video and watching yourself. I guarantee when everybody says, I hate the way I look on camera, I hate the way I sound on record, it's the way all your customers see you. It's the way all your customers hear you. Get used to it. Work on your craft. An advantage I have playing in a failing rock band for 10 plus years, is that I have seen myself be an idiot on stage, on video and record for years. I'm not fazed by it. You know, honestly, having that confidence and that self-awareness to step up and practice is the best thing. The truth of the matter is that people always complain. Salespeople get so nervous, especially when they've been doing it for 20 years. Oh, no, I'm different in front of customers than I am in front of my team. No, you're not. You just think you are. You're not. We always think we're better than we are. We always do. When we practice with our team members, it's like, you know, pick your sports team, the Broncos, right? You know, when the Broncos are out practicing, the defense knows the plays the offense is calling, right? The Nuggets, they're getting ready for Game 7 now against the Spurs. When the Nuggets are scrimmaging, the defense knows the plays the offense is calling. It's awkward. It's not like the real world. But you know what? It's the best that they have outside of the game. And you think about any professional organization, sports team, you know, dancer, ballerina, any professional thing. Can you do it without practice? Why on earth do we think sales is any different? It's not. I would rather fail in front of my peers that care about me and can offer me honest feedback than fail in front of customers and lose commission dollars. It's just the truth of the matter. So please do this. You know, a resource that I want to point you guys towards, I got that little handout there, the Fire Time podcast. This is a podcast that I do every week. Well, I guess I should say I do it in seasons. So right now we're in the middle of season 2. It comes out every week. And every week, if this has been helpful for you, you're going to get a 45-minute to an hour-long conversation like this with guests from all over the industry. And, you know, we interview everybody from like the presidents of the biggest companies to literally local installers that I compete with. Like I interview my direct competition on this because a lot of them are really good and they're doing good things. And you know, I'm all about, I think in a high tide, all ships rise. So if that's helpful for you, you can search for it. I want to point you towards one more resource. This is an ebook that I wrote about 2 years ago that's called The Roadmap to Success. And this is 5 executable and repeatable steps to grow your hearth business. If you're in a leadership position, this is just me giving you my playbook. And it's 5 steps that are really simple. You know, set expectations, set goals for your team members, give them a sales process, have regular, it's not rocket science, but I'm telling you, if you do these things, it's really helped me. And you can go to the website, itsfiretime.com/roadmap and download it for free. That's itsfiretime.com/roadmap. Everybody, I kept you late. Thank you for coming. If you want to get a hold of me, here's all my information right here. I'm going to be sticking around at Punchbowl Social, and I'm around to hang out right now. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.